Good morning and welcome to the porch. Well, we thought we'd do a little bit of just a porch talk this morning, and we're sitting out at the shooting range, and it's looking like it's going to rain pretty quick. So we're going to do a video, and then we're going to do a little bit of shooting if the rain doesn't stop us. And we're going to have a little bit of a good time today. We're not going to be so serious today. I'm going to talk to you guys about something you guys might find interesting. Well, let's talk about Bigfoot. What do you guys think? I lived out on the West Coast for about 15 years, and I lived in what was really considered to be one of the real hot spots in the world for Bigfoot sightings. Now, whenever I moved out there, I was not a person that believed that there was any such thing as Bigfoot. And my wife is almost humors kind of an ongoing conversation. She believed that the Bigfoot existed, and I just laughed about it. It's them things don't exist. There's no proof of them. And so I was not a Bigfoot believer when we moved out there, and that kind of changed over a period of time. Now I spent a lot of time out in those mountains. Hobby of mine was gold mining, and so that put me out in those woods and mountains a lot. And anyway, just to kind of get on with this, I would see those teepee type structures out there pretty regular. And I didn't really investigate them close. I'd look at them and I'd say, that's kind of weird that those trees fell that way, because I just thought it was maybe a storm come through and the trees fell a certain way. But it was kind of funny that they in the back of my mind, I could tell it looked like somebody had carried them there and put them there, but I just never really did look at them that close. So that went on for a long time, and then one time I was bear hunting, and I'd hiked way in the backwoods there. I'm talking about I went in some pretty remote places, and I had my bear rifle, and I'd hiked a long ways back in there around the mountain and up on top of another mountain. And when I got up on top of that mountain, there was something odd, and I didn't put two and two together then either. I found a spot cleaned out. Oh, it's probably a 20 by 20 area, and when I looked, there was two doe deer laying there, and their feet were pointed the same way. They were laid in there very symmetrical looking, as if there was intent on putting those deer in there the way that they were in there. And I thought, well, a mountain lion must have killed those deer. Well, I looked at them. There wasn't a scar on them, not anything. No skin broken, no gunshot wounds. But anyway, I just, I knew it was extremely odd, and I just shook my head and thought, wonder what did that? That wasn't a mountain lion. A wild animal put those there. They would have chewed them up or something. But anyway, they were just laying there. So again, I really didn't put two and two together. I didn't have time or the enthusiasm to try to sort that problem out. So I went on about my bear hunting, and that was that. And so I'm hiking down in the deep woods again one day, and this all happened over a period of a few years. And I'm hiking down in the deep woods, and I'm down in a very remote place. And I looked around me, and there was several trees that were broke off. The tops were broke out of them, about 8 foot, 9 foot up, I guess. And I looked at that, and there were several of them, and they were fresh. And I thought, what in the world kind of storm come through here and just break the tops out of those? Usually if a storm comes through, it'll blow a tree over, maybe even uproot it. But there were several of these trees, and they were green trees. They weren't dead trees. And up about where they were broke off, they were probably 3 or 4 inches. And I thought, what kind of a storm would have broke these guys off like that? And I looked around at the bigger trees, and there wasn't any limbs broken on the bigger trees or any sign of wind and storm damage. And then I'm standing there trying to figure this out. I'm putting a little more thought in it than I usually do. And then I remembered that my wife and I had watched a documentary of some kind on the Sasquatch or Bigfoot. And they said that those things would do that. And I think they said it was to mark their territory. Anyway, I'm looking at that, and that thought crosses my mind. And I don't know whether it was psychological or what it was, but I got a little bit nervous, to be honest with you. I thought, doggone, if that's the case, if that's some kind of a Sasquatch or animal, I may be in the wrong place. So long and short of it is, I got on out of there on purpose, and I just thought it was a good idea. I thought, well, I don't believe in those things, but just in case I'm wrong, I'm just going to leave. So I left on out of there, and a person may say, well, do you believe in those things now? Well, I had another experience that was so bizarre that I'm probably not even going to tell it now. It's kind of another story for another time if I ever tell this one. But I was face to face with one of these things within 6 or 8 foot of it, and there wasn't anything between us. So my life has changed considerably, and my thoughts about the paranormal have changed considerably. I don't know how to explain some of this stuff, guys, but I'm going to tell you this for a fact. There's some things out there that we just simply don't understand, and I still have a struggle trying to understand how something like this can exist. And we have these big question marks. Is it true? Is it real? And many people have seen them, and I've heard some fairly bizarre stories about these things. Got to kind of paying attention to it a little more after being out there and seeing them trees broke off at the top. But anyway, maybe one of these days I'll tell the other story, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm still trying to sort that out in my mind, what in the world I was looking at that day. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys listening. If you get anything out of this, hit subscribe, like, share, comment. By the way, when I say comment, you guys comment on that. Some of you guys know more about this than I do, and I'd be nice if you guys would send me a comment and help try to explain some of this craziness I seen while I was out there. All right, guys, it's been kind of fun. We appreciate you guys watching. May God bless. Have a good day.